Welcome to the first video in this Final Cut Pro 10 course. It covers the user interface and the different tools that come with Final Cut. So let's get started. So to get started, first you need to launch the Final Cut Pro application. You can either do that straight from the dock if you have it in your dock, or you can go to Finder, go into your applications, and you should find Final Cut Pro. I've renamed it to Final Cut Pro X. You can just double click on it, and it should open right up. It will load the last project that you had open, which for me was just the course. I will go and show you how to create events, projects, and libraries later in the second video. Here I'm just covering the user interface, and I will be using this test project to kind of show you all the different little things that Final Cut has to offer. So the way Final Cut Pro works compared to Premiere and other softwares is you have a library which keeps all of your events and projects and source files. Then you have events, as you can see here, which contain different projects inside, and you have the project and the files related to the events inside of that event. You can preview your different clips in this list format that I usually use, or you can look at it in a film strip view. Film strip view allows you to see more frames of each file, but the list view lets you see more information like the time codes, when the file was created. You can assign different camera angles, and you can customize all of these options by right-clicking on the property and choosing whether you want to see the video frame rate, the file type, codecs, and many other options. The way to show and hide these windows are up here. So this is your media browser window. This is your settings window for the clips. These are your transitions, your effects. This lets you zoom in and zoom out of the timeline, as well as making the clips themselves bigger in the timeline, as well as showing different options depending on your project. These are the different ways to see the clips. I typically work in the standard mode. This tool allows you to snap, so if you cut different things and you're moving them, it just helps you snap them to where the cuts are. This lets you solo the items, and a shortcut to hide different items is V on the keyboard for visibility. This lets you skim through audio, so when you're moving your mouse, you'll be able to hear the sound that's down on the audio tracks, and this button allows you to skim on the video. So if you don't have the video enabled, you won't be able to do the sound, but you can turn off the sound if you don't want to get distracted by the sound playing when you're skimming through the video. The tools up here show you the video effects and settings, so you can stabilize your clips, get rid of the rolling shutter, as well as scale them, move them, crop them left and right, change blending modes and opacity. Then you have the color correction tab, which lets you do different color correction to the clip, but I use a different plugin to do my color correction. Then there's the sound settings, where you can apply different sound effects from the effects tab, as well as just doing normal audio enhancements, panning the sound left and right, as well as changing the sound from dual mono, stereo, and reverse stereo. And then just the information tab that just gives you the information about the clip that is in your timeline, as well as whether the clip is optimized or if it's a proxy. We will cover all of these things in the next video. One of the biggest benefits of using Final Cut is its ability to background render. So to show you how that works, I'm just going to take this artifact effect, throw it on this clip, and I'm gonna click this checkbox over here, which is gonna show you the different background tasks that are happening. So as you can see, if I'm moving my mouse and I'm doing things to the project, it's not background rendering anything, But as soon as I'm gonna walk away from my computer and get a coffee or something and just stop moving my mouse, you will see that it starts rendering the clip. So that is really strong for times when you're leaving your desk and you just forget to hit render, or you just forget that you have clips that you need to render or optimize or do proxies. You can just forget about it because Final Cut will do that in the background for you. So that is one of the strongest things in Final Cut compared to other editing software. To get to your user preferences, all you have to do is hit Final Cut Pro, choose Preferences, and it will take you to the different preferences inside of Final Cut, which is the way you want to display the time code, if you have any dialog warnings. In the editing is where you can enable different default fade durations, as well as when you're dropping in still images. So this setting is really great if you shot a time lapse, so you want to just drop in all of your photos all at once, and you can set, the duration to be 0.05 seconds. That way all of your clips are playing as a video, and you don't even have to put your clips into any other software or opening them as an image sequence in After Effects or anything like that. You can do that straight up in Final Cut just by changing the editing duration of the still images. Then you can go to the playback tab, which is where the background render settings are hiding. So you can change how long the computer waits for your input before it starts to background render, as well as if you want to be reminded when your playback frames drop or anything like that. But these are the settings that I tend to use, as well as no pre-roll or post-roll, because that just makes it feel laggy for me when I'm playing clips. You can choose the color for your player background. I usually go with black. You can choose your import settings, whether you want to leave your files in place when you import them, as well as if you want to assign any keywords that are already connected to the files, as well as any other settings. You can find them in here. And then your export destinations can be found in this Destinations tab. Another interesting thing is that you can upload videos straight to YouTube out of Final Cut Pro. All you have to do is choose your login settings and you're good to go. Now that you learned the user interface and the different tools that work inside of Final Cut, let's go ahead and learn how to create projects, make events, and import your media and sort them by keywords. So that video is going to be down below.